Hey there everyone, this is Chess Coach Aaron, and I'm here with another video to add to my new series of chess variations, or as I like to call them, fun chess, fun games of chess. And variations of chess usually use the chessboard, of course, and the chess pieces, and many, if not most of, the normal chess rules. There are tweaks and changes to make it a different game, and this is called a variation, and there's quite a few of them that are really good. I love them. They all help regular chess in different ways. So this is the second video. The first video I did 3-check chess, love it. And the second variation we're going to look at for chess is called Chess960, or some people still call it random chess, or Fischer chess after Bobby Fischer, or even Fischer random chess. So over the years, there have been many discussions in the past 50 to 100 years, on and off, between your average casual chess player and some of the best players in the world even, who talk about how chess may be getting a little bit, I don't want to use the word boring, but people really work hard on memorizing and learning openings and are set patterns to begin a game. The idea of random chess, or Chess960, or Fischer chess, and I'm just going to start calling it Chess960 because that's its official modern name. The idea of it is to get away from all the book knowledge of these opening moves by having all the tall pieces on the back ranks start off basically randomly. So here we have to talk about how the setup is and a couple rules to the, tweaks to the rules of regular chess. Number one, all the pawns start in the same spot. So you can see the board and the pawns are on the second rows. Next, the tall pieces on the back rank are done randomly. Some rules for it though. Your opponent's pieces have to match. So let's say we randomly have a rook, and let's just say it starts on the F line. That means it has to face the opponent's rook. They have to be on the same spot. So all the tall pieces are put randomly. And if you do it online or with a computer generating it, it can be very easy. But if you're doing it, yourself, maybe put a pile of pieces to the side, close your eyes, reach out, take them, and put them on the board. And the pieces on the other side, of course, have to match up. So you can just do one side, and the other side you match up. There are some special rules, though. One of them is simply that you have to have bishops of opposite colors. Just like regular chess. You have one dark squared bishop, boom, and one light squared bishop. So that has to still apply. The next rule, and this is the hardest part of Chess960. The hardest part is with the castling, because the king can be on different spots, and the same with the rooks. So the first rule for placing kings and rooks is whenever a king gets placed, there has to be a rook on either side of it. So let's take all the pieces off, for example, and let's say the king randomly is on C1 and C8. That means there has to be a rook in this direction placed to start the game, and a rook in this direction placed from the king. There has to be one on each side, just like in regular chess. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the corners, but it has to be somewhere to the side. So the rook could be anywhere to one side of the king, could be anywhere this way, one rook, and then the other one, there's only two choices, it would be A or B. All right, next, how do we actually castle? Let's say this is the starting position, and let's just throw some pieces on the board. Let's set it up like we had it a moment ago for both sides. And we'll talk real quick about the castling, and then I'll show you a couple quick games, blitz games I played, 3-minute games, which, again, there's no opening ideas by itself, though some starting positions can seem very much like regular chess positions, of course. You kind of on your own to start the game with, though, and that's the exciting part. But all right, let's set this up. Are both sides the same? Are all the pieces facing each other? Rook versus rook. Bishop versus bishop, knight versus knight. Yeah, looks like everything's correct. All right, so the rules for castling are the same as regular chess in a certain way. There can be nothing in the way between where the king starts from and where it's going to land. And also there can be nothing in the way from where the rook starts and where it lands, other than the king and rook. Because the rook does go on the other side of the king sometimes, like in regular chess. But those can be only two pieces that are going to be moving, and nothing else can be in the way. So that's the same as regular chess. Then the next one, the king cannot be in check. It cannot move through check, because you kind of think of the king maybe as sliding to its spot, right? So it can't be in check, and it can't move through check. It can't land in check. And nothing with check. So that also applies. It also has to be the first move that the king does or the rook that it works with also does. All right, so let's make some moves and let's get in a position where we can kind of castle just for fun. And this is not easy, of course. I'm just randomly doing stuff just to get all those other pieces off the back rank, just so you can see the rooks and the king. All right, so now here's the hardest part to think about. And this is, if you castle with the kingside rook, and here's the kingside rook. If I do the king with this rook, they're going to land in the normal castling positions of chess. To make it easy for this game in a certain way, this new random starting game, they decided, we're so used to regular chess where the king and rook end up, that's where they're going to end up in random chess, 960. So where on the king side do the king and rook end up? Well, the rook ends up on f1. It's actually already there. So believe it or not, when you castle, the rook is going to stay in its spot. And this can happen with chess 960. You can castle and pieces can basically stay where they started from, the king or the rook, or you could even have them both stay and kind of kill a move or waste a move. It seems crazy, but it is possible. So, or maybe that's not possible. Maybe, and that's the thing about the chess 960. But to castle, you would basically say you're casting with this king and this rook, and the king would go to its spot, which would be g1, and the rook would go to f1, which it happened to already be on, and you've castled kingside. That's your move. Now, what about queenside? Same thing. Notice, here the rook was on f1, so it's not moving. Here the king's on c1, so actually it's not moving also. You would say I'm castling queenside with this rook, so the king would land on c1, and where do the rooks, when you castle queenside, land? On the d line. So this would be, I've castled. So let's put the king on d, just for fun, just so you can see it. So again, it would move to c1, and this rook would go over to d1, and there could be nothing in the way. This also creates moments where you can have weird-looking castling moves, such as, let's say the knight started on a1. You can actually castle queenside. Nothing's in the way of the king where it's going to land, and nothing's in the way of the rook where it's going to land, right? Nothing's on c1. So this knight actually can be an a1. You would move the king to castle, land on c, and this would land on d. The a1 didn't affect it at all, so the knight actually could have stayed there and you could castle. I know it seems a little weird and takes a little getting used to. Just remember, in chess 960, when you're castling, your king and your rooks land where they would normally land as in regular chess. So you can have situations like this, because you need to have a rook on each side of the king, but let's move it as far to the side as possible. So kings, notice, kings can never start in the corner. But let's say I'm going to castle kingside. I've never moved this rook, I've never moved the king, I'm not in check. Now you have to make sure nothing is in the way between the king going to g1 and this rook going to f1. So there could be no pieces on these four squares. Can there be a piece on h1? You betcha. It can be there because it won't affect it. You could go king 1 and f1, and I've castled. And boy, if that rook and king really slid across the board, but as long as they're not going through check or anything else, that's a legal move. Notice, if their light squared bishop was over here, though, you would officially say that, all right, the king is going all the way to g1. Well, it can't. You're not allowed to castle. This would be legal castle because you'd be going through check. And this reaches f1, so can't do it. All right, so these are the rules for castling, and you have to have a bishop on each side. And now real quick, chess 960, it's interesting. The reason why it's called chess 960 is if you count up all the different possible starting positions with the tall pieces, yes, it is random. You don't know where they're going to be. But there's only 960 possible different starting positions, 960 of them. So they made it chess 960 because there's only 960 possible different starting positions. Still a lot. Still takes away from regular chess and the ability to use opening preparation. All right, the last thing I'll say, and I'll show you my games real quick, and this is a fun variation of chess too. Definitely try it. The last thing I'll say is in 2019, last year, the FIDE, International Chess Association, actually held a world championship for this. They were recognizing this variation of chess as being important, actually. And in the finals, Wesley So, American player, top 10 player in the world, was world champion for chess 960. And who did he beat? Well, he beat Magnus Carlsen in the finals. So Magnus is the runner-up. World champion regular chess, the runner-up for Chess960. And all the top players just about played in this knockout competition to try to become world champion at Chess960. Quite a few of the top players also say this may be the future where, again, everyone knows all these memorized starting positions and lines from books, and computers are so strong, maybe this is a new way to infuse some life into chess. Still very fun. I still like regular chess a little bit better, but still very fun. All right, let me show you one or two of my games, because again, Let's Chess, one of my favorite websites, has this on their site. So you can actually play Chess960 on their website. You can play in tournaments, you can play single games. It's a lot of fun. All right, let me show you a couple games. Let's get the first game up. Hold on. All right, here's my first Chess960 game, and you'll notice when you're playing 3-minute blitz, it's already kind of crazy enough with regular chess where you already have certain moves that you kind of know ahead of time that you're going to play. Here, you have to take a moment and really recognize how this position is starting. And oh, I didn't realize as I was showing you guys, this was a game I already forgot, because I played several games in a row. This was a game where the king actually was all the way to one side with the 2 rooks. Very interesting. And notice how you got to kind of plan, how am I going to expand? How am I going to get my pieces out? Not happy a knight starts in the corner because knights are so slow. And very interesting game. But with 3 minutes, too, it can get really crazy and quick. All right. I'm not going to talk too much about the game itself. Let's just run through some moves so you can see it. But I will say a thing or two, of course. And part of it is I figured I was not going to castle on the king side. This is the king side. I know it's a little bit weird to look at. I wasn't going to castle on the king side. I felt like I needed to get these knights and the bishops and the queen all going, right? I could leave my 2 rooks guarding my king for a while. But I didn't want the knights to go first. I want my knights behind pawns. So I really want to start getting some pawns ready. But I do like the idea of making my dark squared bishop active. All right, so you can see why I did my first move. And now I want to get a knight out, the one in the corner, but again, I don't want it in front of the pawns, I want it behind the pawns. At least that's my strategy here. And I kind of understand why they put their bishop here right away. This bishop of mine is already very active and strong, aiming to their king side, right? So they figured, you know, it's okay to get double pawns because their rook would be activated. And I already noticed their bishop was aiming at my a2 pawn too. But I didn't really see a better move, and I definitely didn't mind doubling their pawns. Now I just have to make sure I don't lose my a2 pawn, so I moved it forward. And you can see how my strategy is kind of working a little bit. I wanted to expand on the king side and then get my knights behind the pawns. I kind of want to look out for this move, though. I don't want them to get this amazing pawn chain aiming at my king. And, you know, I kind of expected maybe they might play that. I kind of didn't want it, actually, after I had played my expansion move of e4 here. But they took, and this made me very happy. Now I really like white's position. This knight is really strong. I can expand forward, get a pawn duo here, just like regular chess. But remember, there's no opening preparation, no opening moves. You're still kind of on your own playing chess, only chess. Looking for just good moves. All right, so I also... This was a lot of information real quick. I know I'm talking more than I meant to. When they move this rook, boom, it means they're definitely not casting on a king side either. This is their king side rook, and it's moved. They can still castle queen side, which means this rook would go over here, and the king would go over here when they castle, if they castle. But, you know, our kings actually started off in a spot where it kind of felt castled already, to be honest, other than how do we deal with our rooks. I kind of helped black's rook get active, but I want my rook to be active too. All right. Let's see how we develop our pieces. And I really like my knights here. And after they took on e4, I really like my pawn structure also. And I maybe forced things too quickly here, right? I was looking to aim at this position. I wanted to get a knight over here perhaps and focus on some stuff. But I'm letting their bishop come out. You know, but I tried to force stuff maybe a little too much. Maybe I should play a little bit slower here. Maybe bring out the queen, because if they capture, I could always capture back with the bishop for the moment. So maybe playing with the queen somewhere makes a little sense. Put a little pressure over here. So maybe queen over to b4 makes maybe a little more sense, because I really don't like to make trades unless I'm getting something for it. All right, boom. And, you know, there's an open D-line to fight over. I kind of don't like the choices I made. Again, maybe I should play my queen over here. And I was surprised by this castling, though. But it does make sense because now they're totally dominating the D line. But there's nowhere for them to really go towards the end. They could go to the 7th rank, which is very strong, just like in regular chess. So here I like Black's position maybe a little bit better. They got to get this knight going, so that's kind of slow. And they still have weakness over here. But they do have this really strong D file, and they could get a rook on the 7th line. So I kind of like Black a little bit better. And I got to deal with my rook on A1 not doing anything. But all right, let's see what I did. And push that pawn, get that pawn going. While they're getting their knight going, I'm trying to get my rook in the game. And suddenly, I actually like White's position a lot better, right? Now my queen can help over here. We can infiltrate. And I did a quick check. I expected them to go to C7 and maybe get another check, but they went over to D7. And I had to think for a moment, and I realized this knight's not doing great. And if the 7th rank is good for Black, well, why is it not good for White? And just takingly helps them because it relieves some of the pressure, right? This rook's not doing a whole lot. The bishop's not doing a whole lot. My queen can get active, though. But this rook here is my most active piece. So I'm putting pressure on this whole position. This pawn is pinned, so there's ideas of taking the c-pawn if the king tries to run. You know, just ideas of it. Of course, it's still protected. This knight is not actually protected. It's kind of hanging out there. So if I get my queen over here, I get some pressure. And it's the only thing protecting their b-pawn. I really like this position for White all of a sudden. And they played over, and I get my queen up, and believe it or not, this knight is in a lot of trouble. It's basically checkmated. I checkmated the knight. Where's it going to go? Now, I was kind of thinking they were going to move that pawn forward, and I was really, in my mind, wondering, save my bishop, or is there something better to take and they take? But I think I actually saved my bishop because the idea of this knight not being able to be protected and where is it going to run is really strong. So they could have moved forward. I jump out of the way, and now what are they doing tonight again? Where is its safe spot to go? Right? Where can it go? That is the question. And yes, right now it can go to A6, but I'll take the b-pawn with check now and take the knight because the knight's the only thing protecting it. They can't move the rook to protect the knight. So this is great. Turns out their knight is checkmated. And actually, my opponent didn't resign here. I was a little surprised by that. Why not play to the end, right? Yes, they lost a piece. All right, you know what? Let me show one more game, but I'm just going to run through it. I'm not even going to say a single word. And we'll get this video done. And again, Chess960 is a lot of fun. It kind of gets you to work on piece coordination, which is very important in regular chess because you're not thinking of opening moves, which you kind of already know, situations you know. So you have to think on your feet and be very flexible, which in middle games in chess, it's like you're starting in the middle game here. Middle games in chess, you have to think on your feet many times and try to work on improving your pieces and piece coordination. Chess960 does a great job of that. All right, let me get that second game. Hold on. All right, here's the second game I'll show with Chess960, and this actually officially was a draw. 58-move draw. I'm showing the end position, and now I actually ran out of time. And in 3 minutes, that does happen a little bit too much for me. I do admit, though I do enjoy 3 minutes, but there's not a lot of time. So winning or losing, you still got to manage your time. And here, I actually ran out of time, but it was officially a draw. Why? Well, the black side, because I was white, only has their king, and if you don't have any what they call checkmating material, right? I have 3 pawns, which in theory can become a queen and checkmating material. They don't have anything. So even though I lost on time, they couldn't officially checkmate me if they had more time. They couldn't because they have no checkmating pieces. So here, even if they had 1 black pawn on the board, Black would win. But instead, this is a draw. All right, let me just run through these moves, and this game was a lot of fun. And I don't mind sacrificing 1 pawn, getting good active pieces. But here I didn't even have to sacrifice a pawn. It was very spicy. And let's just back up real quick in the center. After this move, I said, I can take their knight on c6 and get my pawn in the center. And it looks like I'm losing a pawn, but not really. And I didn't mind opening this up. And that is kind of what did happen. The one bad thing is I do have this double pawns over here. But 6 pawns for 6 pawns. I can still castle over here, getting my rook on a D line. And I figured my queen and my bishop were actually going to be active. Notice their queen is behind their bishop, so it's a little different. So for the double pawns, I have a little bit more active bishop and queen. Does that really matter? Well, sometimes those things do matter. And here we have a pin on the c-pawn, and I have 2 attackers on this bishop. I was, obviously, you can't play hope chess, but I was thinking if they don't pay attention, I move their queen somewhere at the wrong time, well, they'd only have one protector on this pin piece. I also noticed I had this check here to try to get more active. If I can get some major pieces on the 7th line, again, that kind of activity, even when it's equal material, that kind of activity can win games. So that's what I was kind of looking to do here. Even though there's less material, I was trying to get my heavy pieces, rook and queens, perhaps on the 7th rank. Here I noticed I could put a lot of pressure on the opponent with the check and trade, right? And I have, again, a more active rook and queen. I have double pawns, but they have a weak pawn in the center. So if I can get my heavy pieces, queen and rook on a 7th rank, maybe I'm going to win. If I can capture this pawn, again, I have a 3 versus 2 superiority on one side of the board for pawns, and this is endgame strategy. Maybe I can try to get a win. But again, don't have a lot of time in these 3-minute games. So even though I'm thinking about it, and I'm telling you what I was trying to do, you know, we have another 40 moves in this game before I run out of time. But you can see what I was trying to do. And I figured I had the more active pieces and a better position, so I was trying to work around their position and get my pieces, my rook and my queen, a little more active. And notice when they did this check, I was nervous for a moment, right? But I realized I am covering e8. So if they do check on g1, I could definitely bring my king to e2, covering these 2 pawns. And now maybe I have some ability to do some stuff here, either bringing the rook down to c7, like I said, and now I have this battery along the 7th rank that might win, especially if their queen is stuck way over here. Let's say they go check, I jump up to e2, and they take this pawn. Let's say they go pawn hunting, rook here just wins, right? This battery, I'm going to be taking on b8 and doing checkmates over here on the queen side. So black really can't afford that, and this actually was the longest think of the game for black. They took the most time and they ran back, which is probably the right move. Now I'm just trying to get my pieces on the 7th rank, like I said. I definitely win at least one pawn here. And now I have a queen versus queen, but you know, oof, we both did not have a lot of time. He had more time than me the whole time, though. I think it was a he. And just a lot of moves real quick. And let's get to that drawn position at the end. And probably with more time for sure, of course, I can win. Here I realized I pushed this pawn too quick. I was really low on time. I just wanted to get all their pawns off the board. That way I won't lose the game. It's at least a draw. And here I lost on time. But a really fun game, and you can still use your chess normal strategies in Chess960. It's still chess, just without all the opening preparation. All right, let's get one quick joke, and we'll be done with the video. When Coach Aaron was leaving the beach one day, what did the ocean say to me? One more time. I was at the beach a long time ago, and when I was leaving, what did the ocean say to me? And remember, this is a joke. Well, you guys are being silly. The ocean can't talk. It didn't say anything. It just waved goodbye. Waved goodbye. Love it. All right. Try some Chess960 when you can. It's a fun variation of chess, and it will help your regular chess. Have a great weekend, guys. Peace.